All right, AP Human Geography students, here's our third video. Why are resources being reused? Well, you might guess we have to lower our dependency on fossil fuels, so we have to look for alternative or renewable resources. Unfortunately, though, some of these alternatives and renewable resources are more expensive than the use of petroleum, natural gas, and coal, hence our problem. So within the United States, these other alternative renewable energies, they account for about 15% of the energy consumed. Now, 8% of it is derived from nuclear energy, and the other 7% is derived from renewable resources. Now, let's focus on nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is not a renewable resource, but it is an alternative to fossil fuels. In fact, nuclear energy packs more of a punch, if you will, or releases more energy per kilogram than fossil fuels to produce electricity. Now, in Europe and in parts of the United States, we are heavily dependent on nuclear power. Now, for example, in France, nuclear power provides 95% of electricity in that country. And in New Jersey, it provides more than 50% of electricity. Very interesting. Now, there are several problems associated with nuclear energy, hence why it is not used so widely. One is radioactive waste. Two, it's highly costly. And thirdly, there is a limited supply of uranium. All right, let's get on to renewable energy sources, and let's start with biomass, all right? More than 50% of renewable energy comes from this source. Now, what is biomass, all right? This includes stuff like wood and crops such as corn, soybeans, and sugar, animal residue, so on and so forth. Now, the downside about using biomass is that it's inefficient energy when compared to fossil fuels. And, well, we use these things in other ways. For example, wood we use for building materials, for coins, soybean sugar we use for food, right? Other items we use for clothing, shelter, etc. Let's move on to another renewable energy source, hydroelectric power. This is actually the world's second most popular source of electricity after the use of coal. In fact, most LDCs depend on this power to harness electricity. Interestingly enough, Canada and the United States also use this power as well. One example is Niagara Falls, which provides a large percentage of electricity to nearby Canadian and United States cities. Now, unfortunately, the reason why this is not widespread, there are limited areas to build these dams to support this power. On to another one, solar energy. This perhaps might be the best renewable energy option. It's a limitless supply of energy, yet only 1% of electricity in the United States is harnessed by the sun. And what's nice about this energy, it has absolutely no negative impact on the environment. Now, there are two types of solar energies. One is passive, and what that means is that it captures energy without any special device, right? Like probably what you're thinking of an active solar panel. Now, this includes dark surfaces, this includes special glass that lets light in but traps heat, so on and so forth. And then we have active, and what that is something like solar panels. They use photovoltaic cells that collect solar energy and convert it into heat. All right, one last thing. Let's talk about alternative energy resources for motor vehicles. Let's talk about batteries, or aka electric cars. Interestingly enough, electric cars were first used in 1900, primarily as taxi cabs in New York City and Philadelphia. Now, the downside, just like it is today, is that electric cars have limited range when compared to using gasoline, hence why gasoline is still more popular. All right, another alternative, biofuels. Most vehicles, in fact, can use something called E85, which is 15% gasoline and 85% ethanol. And corn is the principal source of ethanol in the United States. Here's the ironic part. It takes fossil fuels to produce ethanol. So at the end of the day, it's almost like we're swapping out, instead of using gasoline to produce ethanol. Doesn't make a lot of sense. And last but not least, another alternative is hydrogen fuel cells. Unfortunately, very expensive and really primarily used in space shuttles. In the United States and elsewhere, countries would have to create a whole new distribution nationwide system in order for hydrogen fueling stations to fuel hydrogen cars. All right, that's it. We'll talk more about alternative energies and renewable energies in class. See you then.